The original footage from this match is possible thanks to Sushi Night on Twitch. Please be sure to check them out for live streams and VODs in the future.
The match started yet? I'm coming back from dinner.
It
No,
just
match has
literally
just
turned on
started.
the screen.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Dozer is recording.
In the last match,
Yes.
to give our viewers a bit of context, it was Tom Penny versus
Middle
none other
name.
than Kale McCreath, the Bravo Master. And that game
Who's the
actually
no name?
went down to the wire a little bit in the end, so it looked like Tom was in danger of fatiguing with about 10 cards left in library, but he managed to string together a really, really massive...
You saying Tom Penny's a no-name?
That's really, yeah, right. He climbed the mountain, and it was combined with Snapdragon...
What are those artworks on Matt's sleeves there?
I can see in the chat here
Nah,
already,
no
so
idea.
we've got,
Some
we've
kind
got
of
Tanner
special
giving shout-outs to
LSS
Matt. We've
art
got,
or something?
a few people giving shout out to Tom, so I think these are two sort of
Some
teams
random
in the game,
sleeves he
so
likes.
I'm super excited for this matchup.
I'm just wondering, like, you know, ultimately I've always kind of believed...
It's probably a spoiler for the next hero, and we don't even know.
Yeah, probably.
If you're
Yeah.
a good player.
Yep.
And, like, I feel like
Tom's been
this
playing
is,
this game
more
since
than the decks.
before it
It's gonna be
released.
about
I think
the
he's actually a
system.
friend of James White's.
It's going to be, you know, about each of these players reading each other.
How'd you find that
It's
out?
gonna come down to the player,
I've
ultimately.
heard it on several
Just to give everyone an
podcasts.
update, so in the other semi-final we have going on off camera, we have Nick Holding.
So
Should be a
I
tight
wouldn't
game,
consider him a no-name. He's
which actually means to
probably a
viewers
pretty
paying
good player.
attention, we have
I've
four
even heard
players
Matt
in the top
Rogers
four, which is very
talk about
exciting to me.
playtesting with him.
No, the top eight's been great. But yeah, we soon, I mean, a matter of like, well, these are untimed, but hopefully this game, you know,
Oh,
will
that's
go around
nice.
like the 30 to 40 minute mark. We'll see who the two heroes are. But again, this is interesting because this is, of course, the face down of what seem to be the two dominant heroes from...
Yeah, so, but yeah, shouldn't Oldhim win this matchup?
Yeah, so I think we've seen it develop throughout the season. So clearly we had this sort of...
This is a
string of
Channel
dominant
Mount
results
Heroic,
from
Briar?
I
Yeah.
think first we had
Yeah.
the Cheerios list piloted by Tara
Maybe.
Patel,
If
two
you
great
if you
successful
ice react
commercials. And then we saw a bit of an evolution
the
from
Channel
Briar
Mount Heroic
starting
turns,
to
you
run
could
things
make
like Channel
them
Mount Heroic,
a lot
with
less
a few more
potent.
blues in the deck, just to have these huge spike turns where they just put out
But
insane amounts
this
of
Oldhim
damage.
list has not
Now,
been very
we have
defensive
seen, I think,
in
more
any of the
players
games we've
pivot to
seen.
things like Oldhim and Bravo to counteract these strategies. So
I mean, the first round that he played, it wasn't terribly aggressive against the Viserai, right?
Take it out and make it to the final.
You mean versus the Briar?
Yeah,
It
Briar.
was pretty aggressive.
Okay.
He was swinging
And Tom, you know,
Oaken Old Command and Conquers.
of this
I mean,
build,
those are just cards. I don't,
Yes, I believe so. So
I don't think they're
But he was
particularly
not trying to
defensive.
fatigue. He won by knocking his opponent's life total down.
generates a lot of resources over the course of the game.
Blocking six.
And notably, he's blocking with the 9-power Glacial Footsteps so that he can defense react onto the... That's interesting.
Reaction to mitigate a bit of this damage here.
So
So he did choose just to defend for 6. Tom obviously wanting to, you know, get out
So,
the gates.
as an instant, he can activate those lightning presses in response to the block before reactions happen,
you don't go quite as
before the
hard
Oldhim can do
as
anything.
your opponent can just throw their whole
So that's
hand
10 attack versus the 9
Yeah, so we'll have to see
on
how
the
this plays out.
Glacial.
Now,
What a
one thing
weird
to
first
pay
turn.
attention to here is, there are... Okay, so we've got the...
Oh.
He's responding with Art of War.
Here because it will pump up
He's
the-
gonna pick +1
it's going
defense
to pump up
and
the
go again, probably.
defense, I believe, of the attack actions. I think we might just be checking on the timing with the Exude Confidence.
So he has
there.
blocking 8.
Okay, no, it's all
pretty good.
we're all good. So Tom starts off with
Very
the bottom of the
interesting
gets through 2
opening
damage.
turn.
I
Couldn't
think
you
he'll be pretty happy with this because
couldn't you
that's kind of
respond
the
with
trend
that
we can't do a whole lot
bait
with.
instead?
One thing is, those
Because
lightning
if he
Why?
did the
presses
lightning
are critical
presses,
for
as I was
pushing for
saying, during
damage in
blocks,
mid-to-late games. So
the attack
we may
on
see
the
that come
Exude
back to bite
Confidence
Tom
would be
later on.
10 before they get to reactions, and that's higher than the yellow Glacial, so Vapor Scene couldn't be
I know,
played.
she's played them both on the Exude
because of
Confidence,
Exude
so I know
Confidence.
this here. Yeah, so they
Okay.
are gone from the deck. So here we see an Enlightened Strike come out, and that card's that's seen.
So he never made it to reactions.
It gives
Yeah.
them access to a little bit of.
That would be the only way that would work,
So yeah,
and it's definitely possible.
it is, and Tom choosing just to take the damage here, and then Matt's coming with a Winter's Wail. There's no ice card pitched here, so it is just vanilla 4 damage.
You say vanilla 4, but it's still 5 followed by 4. If Tom doesn't throw any away cards here, he's taking like almost 25% of his life total.
That's a really good point.
Does Tom worry about throwing away this much life at the beginning of the game?
Now, my understanding of this matchup is Tom will pick and choose his spots a little bit, but he does want to be the aggressor here.
Oh,
So
look
I
at the
think he might
armor
just
piece
assess
on that
this
Briar.
and see what he can string together next turn.
Snapdragon, Bloodshot,
See if he
Arknight,
wants to
Grasp.
defend here, because if
Very
he has an
standard.
on-attack action, I believe I saw a Force of Nature.
Is
on him,
it?
he'd be able to defend.
Don't they
But
want to
I think
run
he's willing
Tunic?
just to sort of,
And
take the fight to Matt here.
I mean, having the armor against Oldhim is probably relevant.
Standard setup of the Crown of Seeds, the Tunic, the Crater Fist.
I see
and the
most
Northern
channel mount
Boots.
heroic Briars
The
running
Crown of Seed
skeleton.
and the Northern Boots gives him
Okay.
access to almost like a pseudo Arcane Barrier too, if he needs it for the Rosetta Thorn. Obviously, you need to make sure your timing's good with that. But otherwise, yeah, the Tunic's great for building up resources over the course of the game. It's actually really strong as well for being able to come in with the.
Tome of Harvest,
I'm
okay.
going to stop talking about. We're back to the action. We see a Tome of Harvest here. So Tome of Harvest very good because you can arsenal a card that you don't really want and then use it to get rid of it and draw back up. Also really strong because it helps you get towards those Embodiment of Lightnings, which are just
Is that Blizzard in his
string
hand?
together these big turns.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty cool card.
It looks like it on the
you know,
far left.
3, and it has again
Yeah.
has go again.
Yep, the go again. Yep, very important in this kind of deck.
So let's have a look.
So he starts off here with the Ball Lightning.
Ooh, the villain of the piece, still playable today.
Exactly, and just to let all our viewers know who may not be aware, New Zealand and Australian nationals are exempt from the bans in errata, just to let you all know. So we won't see any judge calls on the Sport Lightning here.
Yeah. Now one question is obviously,
Interesting.
Matt's, Oldhim is
Why would he
quite
play
All right,
Force of
chain
Nature
gets closed.
after Ball Lightning?
Control, or is this
Because he
gonna
didn't
be
want to
just
waste the,
Greg's tempo? Because you know,
embodiment
obviously
of
a lot of
lightning.
matches, you have one aggressive, one controlling, regardless of what they are, or are these two just going to be belting at each other's faces trying to get tempo?
Well, my understanding is that the Briar is generally the aggressive matchup, and just to let everyone know, so we've seen a Force of Nature fused here, creating the Embodiment
So
of
coming in for
Lightning.
6 with an
Tom's
Autumn's
just
Touch,
looking
that's a
to come in
blue.
here with a,
She appears to
Autumn
be.
Touch, I believe blue for 6.
So it's like,
So that's probably
yeah,
not the ideal cards that Tom
plus
wants to
1
see,
on
but
hit draw
one thing
card,
is
but
that he is able to
Oldhim
turn
can
on the
easily
Rosetta
block
Thorn,
that.
and come in
right?
for attack after this.
So we'll see if Matt, pitches.
Yeah, he just blocks 6 here.
Arcane damage.
And then if he wants to come in with Rosetta, does he have floating? Doesn't look like it.
Heads up Oldhim play if they need to. They can defend it and attack fully, and then pitch an Earth card to set up that shield.
But he's got one card in hand, so if it's a
Yeah.
blue, it still
So
pays it.
content here
Or he
just
could, it could be any card in
Okay,
pay,
so
right?
he does have the ice react
Unless he
here,
wants to do a
and
grasp.
Yep, that's actually pretty powerful.
But
that's
he ice
the
reacted to get rid of his
potential
last
Yeah,
card.
it's
Dawn. So I
Top
think
the
Matt's
Rosetta
very
Thorn.
happy with how
Yeah,
that
that
played
was
out.
good.
Nice. He did for a couple. Was that Spinal Crush?
Yeah, see, that's why I like Tunic
Tunic.
better. Even if they get rid of the card in hand, you could still Tunic Rosetta.
Mhm.
I think Matt is going to be fairly happy throwing away some of these blue cards.
Yeah.
One thing to watch out for here is Tom playing Briar. He does need to be aware of sort of the power cards in his deck, And in saying that, the deck has a very large number of power cards.
He might be
when it
thinking
comes
of
down to
crowning
it, I
here to
feel
get his
the Oldhim
Oakenhold into
player has more
Arsenal,
cards
unless he
willing
already
to
has a
throw
good
away
card in
than Briar
Arsenal.
player is.
Yeah. So Matt's not afraid to.
Oh,
to
wait, he
see
just
some of
passed.
I don't know what's
Some
there.
of us would like to hold
I guess
on
he
to
drew
these
up
cards
past?
in these matches, but Matt
Okay.
really knows when to throw these
Yeah.
away just to
Ball.
just to get ahead.
With an arcane.
Exactly, and we see Tom activate the Grasp of the Iron Eye header to make a rune chart. He's coming with the Ball Lightning. So I feel, Tom, this is a little bit
feel
of a
like
slow
pitching
start that you
the,
might like to see, I think.
The Weave Earths isn't doing a lot of work for the Briar
Certainly
here.
below totals. Matt's been the aggressor in this one. He's still pretty comfortable on 38 lines.
Shouldn't the Briar be setting up Sting Ball?
Absolutely. So I think, Tom, one thing, he wants to keep up the tempo so he can set up this big Mount Heroic turn at some point. But, yeah, I think he would have, we saw that Autumn's Touch come down. It's not the most efficient attack on the Force of Nature.
Now, if Tom gets behind, can he have turns where
Rabble.
he can throw away a few cards, get behind, but then suddenly turn it around?
You see a Scar for Scar on top. Do you want to take some damage now?
They've got access to, of course, Channel
Yeah.
Mount Heroic, sort of the namesake
Maybe
card
not.
taken away.
He's only
So,
dealing 4 here, though.
in games where the Briar player falls a little bit behind, takes a bit
So
of
he'd have to
damage,
deal
but then
quite a
comes
bit
through
more.
with
Yeah,
that
but
Channel Mount
Rosetta's
Heroic
coming
into,
next.
2, 3,
Which
even 4 attacks
Rosetta
followed by
would be for
Rosetta
2,
Thorn.
from what we can
Now, one thing
see.
is the Oldhim player does have access to cards
Did
like
he
Blizzard,
play a
so
non-attack
that's
this turn?
for the Ice React, which is great
No.
for shutting down these turns, and it is able to create frostbites in various ways, and of course the Ice React in general from the Oldhim hero ability.
Well, how much damage can these Briar decks actually throw out on one of those big turns?
Okay, so he's
It's
not worried about
unheard of to
Scar.
see sort of 25, 30 plus damage on their absolute biggest turn, so it does go.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty
Oldhim
crazy.
with the shield and the crown
Getting in there.
and the hammer
So Tom, I think he's probably happy
can,
to throw together a
I
bit of
think,
damage
win
here. So there's
versus
Crown of Seeds
Briar
Crown
for
of Seeds
sure.
activation here to prevent
If
one.
any hero can.
Rosetta Thorn is coming in for 2
Crown
plus
is so
2,
good.
and I believe Tom's
Crown's
last card in
nuts.
hand there is a Nimblism, which he'll be
Lets you
pretty
fix
happy
your
if
arsenal,
too.
and doesn't get hit by an ice
Take
reactor.
one, swing the hammer,
I'm
arsenal.
always happy to see
Ooh.
welcome to Wraith Common,
Okay.
even though the stage of the
Maybe he's
game,
looking for an ice card.
seeing some play in these decks.
Yeah, Sink Below, one of the premier defense reactions in the game, and Matt just choosing to use it to defend for 2 there. I believe he may not have been too happy with the card in his hand. So choosing just the Arsenal. Now Matt's got quite a good setup here because he does have the
don't know what
ability
the other
to
card was,
use Crown
but
Seeds or Rampant if he wants to.
Maybe it would have been better to arsenal
The thing
that
is,
sink.
If you pitch a blue,
I don't know. Probably
No
not.
one's
I
gonna turn
think
down a free resource.
Yeah, exactly.
he wants to be able to have his offensive
so
threats
Tom,
for
let's
later
if we
because
see-
Briar's not
one thing as
likely
well
to
notice,
come in
Tom
with
may be willing
disruption.
to take a bit of early damage
Well,
here
Tom just
to
arsenaled a
activate
card,
his
so he
Scar for
could
a
have been
Scar.
a
I can see he's
plunderer.
got one in hand,
I
and
don't want to
think
sink against
I've
that,
got
I
with my
think.
little eye, I think that might be a channel out
Yeah,
heroic,
but he's
so-
got shield and crown, and he's still got Crater Fist for
I
break
haven't
points.
seen one of his turns on coverage, so I'm looking forward to seeing if they pull it off.
And as one of the viewers pointed out, there is a good point. If Tom's Briar list is running something like Pulsive Candlehold, that is very good at actually getting back Mount Heroic. So to not just 3, but 4.
Yeah. So how is he going to navigate this turn? Is Scar the kind of card that you lead with here? Or you obviously lead with the Mount Heroic?
I know, so the channel Mount Heroic is so important in this matchup that Tom may want to be careful that he picks and chooses.
I feel like
his spot
Oldhim
use
getting
correctly
put
here.
into the Briar was like the
But
optimal
I do see
outcome for the Oldhim
It is a pulse in his hand.
compared
I
to
mean, if
Vizrai and
Tom's
Prism.
one thing he's maybe a little bit worried about is the.
There's Mount
potential
Heroic.
for the ice
And it
reactor.
skirts.
Okay, but here we see a good use of pitch of the
Putting
importance
Ball
of sequencing
Lightning
here.
with
So he's
Candle
pitched
Hold.
these cards in order to. So when he plays his last card from hand, he selects one resource up.
Yeah, and he's going to be
He
able
can play his
to
card from hand, he can play his card from
card
arsenal if he needs to,
potentially into
and then
Rosetta
come
like they're
up with
saying.
Rosetta Thorn.
Gets around the Ice React a little bit, but
Amazing.
the
So Channel Mount Heroic
next
is
turn has to
actually
be a really big hit with the
awkward here because
Mount
Tom,
Heroic.
I believe that's Nimblism in his arsenal, and he can play it out for the damage, but then the embodiment of lightning will get wasted because the Scar does have natural go again. So we'll see what Tom decides to do here. Because there is the opportunity, of course, just to come with the Scar for 7, followed up by Rosetta Thorn for 2.
I mean, he can do 11 damage
and
this
expect the
turn.
Nimblism to come in for a massive turn.
Some of
next
it's
turn.
arcane.
Okay, as long as you better keep the Mount
Yeah, that's what's nuts. The fact that
What's he
Oldhim
thinking
can
about
block.
here?
Okay, so this is definitely players are taking their time.
He's thinking about whether or not he wants to Nimblism for damage
Okay, so,
and to waste the
Here we go.
lightning token.
I'm not,
okay, so he does choose to just go for it here. So he's putting out the Scar for a Scar is coming in for 10 damage.
Yeah.
Seems like a mistake.
I mean,
just maximum damage on this turn. And,
Unless he's just trying to pressure life total, but you're throwing away a possible go again for next turn.
Well, I believe I saw Matt.
I mean, I kind of like
Conquer an
him
Arsenal
getting rid of the
here,
Nimblism out of Arsenal here.
That's actually quite a heads-up play from Tom. By playing the Nimblism, it makes the Command and Conquer much less threatening. Now, Matt may choose to just cycle that to the bottom of his deck here, but we'll have to see what he decides to go with.
Because Oldhim still is like not taking any damage hardly, so to try and like start
So he's
pressuring him a
got
little bit, I
siege
think.
Activation. So he's got one prevention shield up. He's going to draw a card with 2 resources active, so he still has plenty for the rampant.
So we now know commands on the bottom. And what did he draw?
And there's a Command and Conquer there, so that was a good play.
I can't see a command in Matt's hand.
Because if he came in for 7 with no on hit, he could just block for 6, take the Rosetta, and then come back with Command and Conquer,
I'm not entirely sure here.
and keep tempo.
So these, like, you might think, Matt's on 38 life, he's got a bunch of cards in hand. This is pretty simple, but as we've seen multiple times across both Draft and Classic Constructed, every life matters.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, okay, so we're seeing
Wow.
a block for 10 come in here. Now, I quite like this because he's got 1 prevention shield still up from the Crown of Seeds. He's got 1 resource open to use for the Nolrun boots. So that is going to fully prevent the Arcane from the Rosetta Thorn here.
And there's a lot of pointing backwards and forwards between cards here.
Yeah, but I think both players are just making sure they play everything very clean here. So Matt comfortable just taking the 2 damage here. Oldhim has a lot of good sort of, for example, if you have an ice card, you're able to come in with a Winter's Wail, or you can just set up that Arsenal card to keep sort of the Crown of Seeds going.
So is Tom going to be disappointed with that turn? I mean, because obviously there's a lot of resource, a lot of planning went into that turn, and the net gains only 2 damage. Is he disappointed here, or Is it still going to?
Well,
He
I
drew
think
another
he might be
channel.
a little bit disappointed here because he's drawn 2 Channel Mount Heroics, and that is a little bit tough because I think Tom was really wanting to see some number of go again attacks to really put the pressure back on.
Oh,
Matt.
there's 2 channels. So he's
let's
got all
see
3
if he's
channels in like the
looking
first
at playing
5
pitching
turns of the
Mount
game.
Heroics to play Sonata here, which is a possibility.
Yeah. So this is probably in terms of tempo, this did not work for him this turn.
Oh shit.
Okay, yep. So
Yeah.
we see him here pitch the 2 Channel Mount Heroics for the Sonata. So this is going to be very important to see if this hits or not. And sometimes it's better to be lucky and good, as one of my good friends says. And Tom hits the 2 attack actions, so that is really a huge boon to him here to allow him to sort of continue on with his turn. And when I say lucky, I mean
Getting
the Briar
Sonata
players,
is
they
very
structure
good
the
here.
decks in such a way that the Sonata is more likely to hit.
Easily could have been the situation here where he just whiffed.
Yeah, that would have been disastrous, absolutely disastrous if he missed there. Now, one great thing for Tom here is that means the Channel Mount Heroic is going to stick around for an additional turn.
That's a really
that
weird
is huge
play.
in this matchup.
Like getting both Mount Heroics in hand.
So now we see. So just
They'll be
recalling his
clumped
cards,
together
I
at the
believe we
bottom
just played
now.
them out here.
Well, I'm sure he'll play another Sonata before then.
So we'll see if Matt has any
Yeah.
ice react.
Well, less
So I
likely
think we're
now.
just waiting to see what's happening with the arcane damage
Oh, that's the same one. I'm an idiot.
from the Sonata.
Well, he's
Yeah, so
got
Matt
what?
shoots
Rabble
back
into
Crown of
Exude?
Seeds, that's kind of that pseudo arcane barrier we were talking about.
Does he have one more card in hand other than
I
that?
think we
Well,
may see
honestly, he
pitches
should
in
do
the
Exude
future.
into. Wait, did he miss his No, he didn't miss Lightning Trigger. Yeah, so he does do Rabble into Exude here.
And one thing to keep note of, like, you might be thinking, well, 2 Channel Mount Heroics on the bottom, that's kind of bad news for Tom. But one positive thing is, if Tom draws another Sonata that he's able to play at some point, it allows him to shuffle his deck and just get those hopefully broken up a little bit for him.
Yeah. So they're not completely buried because of the nature of this deck. You can find them again.
This is a
And
fun
hopefully
match
just find one
match
of
to
them,
watch.
Absolutely.
2 of them. So he's played this about, you'd say, about as best as he could hope.
Oh, and
Blue
that
Earth
is
Lore.
a little bit tough for Tom there. He reveals a blue card off the Ravenous Rabble. That is one feature of this Channel Mount Heroic deck. It does run a lot more blues, particularly Earth blues, to get those Channel Mount Heroics down. It does make your Ravenous Rabbles a little bit less consistent, as has happened here. So it's still coming in for 5 because the Channel Mount Heroic, but Tom would have been a lot happier seeing it coming for 7.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, he had a perfect Sonata. Let's say
Staunch.
he's doing 50-50 this turn.
Alright, so we see the staunch response come out.
Hey,
So
okay, he's
the
got another
Fisher
card in
Beast
hand.
Max resources
Nice.
there.
And then again, the Bull Lightning's coming in.
Problem is, all these generics, the balls aren't getting
It's coming
extra
in for either 5 or 6,
value here.
Unfortunately, I can't quite catch the color there. But a threatening attack nonetheless. Now,
If it's a red, it
Matt
is
does have
coming in
full
for
information here,
6.
so he does know that the last card in Tom's
It's kind of
hand
hard to
is
stop all this
Confidence.
damage here.
So we'll see if that plays into how he wants to address this. Okay, so we see, I believe that may have been a red ball lightning. So we see the Crater Fist and the Sink below.
It's a full block.
And then we see the
full
Ice
block.
react again. And these are very, very powerful here because
Putting Exude on top of
we
his
see Tom
deck.
shaking his head a little bit here. He would have loved to play out that Exude Confidence, but unfortunately for him, that's going back on top of his deck. So excellent technical play here from Matt, sort of really utilising the strength of his hero.
And there was a card that he drew this turn,
Oh,
off the Sonata.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been better just to exude and then arsenal the ball?
But one good thing here for
He
Tom
wants
is
the
sort of missed
maximum
out
value
on,
out of that
it
channel.
looked like he was going to miss on the Mount Heroic
Yeah,
turn,
but
because
he knew
has
that
two,
the
he's
channel was
got
going to
one
stick
go
around
there,
for another
so
turn.
he's probably looking
And he
to
knew
say,
that
"Show me some
he probably could
Scarlet
ice
Stars,
react
show me
him.
some Brabbles,
But if
and
he had
lightning
attacked
strikes,
with
give me the
Exude,
good stuff."
It can still,
then
it
he
can
wouldn't
still
necessarily been able to.
happen. Yeah, just a shame about the
Right.
But Matt's got to be. Matt's
And he's
had
going to have the ball
two
that
big
would have had the
turns
ball
in
the
a
next turn
row.
anyway.
He's managed to navigate them pretty well.
Expertly, I think he's showing why he's one of the best in the business.
And of course, Matt's had a bit of a rougher journey to the top 8 this year.
All right, who are we
Last year he
cheering
was
for here?
undefeated.
He was.
I think we're cheering for Matt, so that way Prism goes against the Oldhim,
I agree.
and that's what Dozer wants.
That's what I want. I don't want to see Prism v Briar.
Yep, that's true. So he had a
Yeah,
little bit
right
of a
now
tougher
it's
journey
Kel
this year,
versus Prism.
but he's managed to.
And
thought
I do
Kale
want to watch
lost.
Oldhim.
The top 4, and obviously wants to make that final to defend his title.
It's Viserai versus Prism.
If he doesn't win this, we'll
Oh,
be calling somebody else.
Kale
If he
lost.
doesn't win
Yeah,
this,
Kale
then,
lost.
Who knows?
That's why the
Who knows?
Briar's
I
here.
guess we'll have to see. So here we see another Sonata. I believe we're just seeing if Tom
Hasiel's
deciding
probably
what he wants
very
with Sonata,
sad.
if he wants to pitch
Yeah,
one
well.
of those cards in his hand, or Matt may be considering using his Crown of Seeds in response. We'll
Bravo's
just have to
still a
see.
top tier hero. So
Why do you want Prism to win?
No, I want Prism to play against Oldhim and win. I mean, I want Prism to do well.
There we go. And
You
I
know,
believe that's a force of
Prism is a
That's
good
closer he
hero.
gets to retirement.
has
Yeah.
hit on this and can
He's
choose one
far
of those
away
actions
from
to put
retirement.
in his hand.
So which one?
Mm.
Which one? What is it? What is his choice here?
I suspect he's going to go for the
I want to see
Revenant
Oldhim
Sword,
beat
that builds him
Prism.
going against
That's why I want Oldhim to win this game.
Well, that'd be interesting to see.
Mount Heroic turns. And we see the starter, another good thing for here, Tom, is he is able to break up those channel Mount Heroics like we talked about. So there's not too, well, who knows, there may be.
The deck is nice and fresh, and Tom will be hoping.
Is this just the second Sonata?
On top of his deck, he's hoping. Matt, please cut it to a red card. Please cut it to a red
Yeah,
card.
this is the second
So we're
Sonata,
about to
I
see
think.
a bit of fireworks here, and that's the, the nature of the Ravenous Rabble, like we said.
Shuffles those channels
Last time
around.
Maybe I'll push for a bit of damage, but hitting that blue off the Ravenous Rabble set him back a little bit.
Oh,
Okay, and he hits the red this time, and it's lightning press on top. So this.
but it's another ravenous rat. It's beautiful.
But they did tease us with a card that could destroy auras.
Now,
The
this one is
all the
coming from
channels are
4-7,
affected
if
by
I'm not
that.
mistaken.
Yep.
Soul Shackles, Special Shields,
I glimpse
Hype.
a certain
Yeah,
Towering
but
Titan, woo.
One of my
the
favorite cards in the game.
two that are a pain in the butt
still
become worse cards now.
generics that you can come across.
It's so good in Briar as well, with the ability to create those.
I mean, just giving
enforcement
counterplay to
tokens
Lake
that
Frigid
turns
and
on
Mount
the
Heroic is good.
possibility of the Lightning Strike for
Yep.
7 with built-in
That's
go
my
again in
big
a way,
thing.
or just drawing a card to continue on your turn.
Why just make one choice on a Lightning Strike when
Yeah,
you have?
but take them all.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it probably doesn't even have Go Again, the Aura Killing card.
Matt seems to have.
It looks like he's got a Channel Lake Frigid in hand, so he does have access to that Ice Oldhim React as well if he
Looks
needs it.
also like the ultimate.
How important is it for him to land this channel here?
Card.
Everyone may notice that Matt is playing with some of the finest versions of these cards that you can find.
I don't think he can put three
Okay, so one thing is there we
Earths
see
in
Tom,
the
I believe
pitch.
He has a blue Earthfall Surge in hand, which he chose not to pitch to play the Sonata. So it's potentially playing around the Ice React, or potentially he wants to set something up a little bit, so he's got that Rosetta Thorn.
Exude going right
Okay,
back.
so
No, he's got
we're
2
missing
cards.
an Ice React here, potentially. And I think, again, we have to give full credit to Matt here for navigating these
cards.
turns, like you mentioned, Alan, expertly so far.
Look, it's really easy to crumble when your opponent puts this much pressure
Absolutely.
on you, and to make just small mistakes. Small mistakes can.
I guess it's him guaranteeing you will not have 3 cards in there.
So we'll see what's.
Now, one thing for Tom here is it's not as devastating as maybe one of those previous turns, because he does have access to that Enlightened Strike. So, we might see him end the turn with Enlightened Strike for 5, draw a card, but that may influence what he puts on top of the deck. So he has chosen to put the Earthfall Surge on top, I believe, unless it was the E-Strike on top, which kind of leads to me.
Yeah, not sure. All I can see was the Exude in his hand. I couldn't see the second card now. So. Oh, Matt actually drops. Yeah, bleeds. Yeah, it's a considerable amount of damage for Matt so far in this match, taking 1 turn.
If you
so
just
we'll
saw
have
him
to see
take
what
5
Tom
damage, what do you do here?
gonna come in
You
with here.
exude or Enlightened Strike?
Okay, so it looks like he's
Exude.
considering.
And then
Exude, Arsenal, and Line Strike, I guess.
Confidence. I quite like
This
play
should
here.
turn off the
So let's go
Oldhim
around to
reactions,
Get that Enlightened Strike set up in Arsenal for next turn.
or demand a big block. Because he can also pump in response to the Ice React by pitching a blue, if he has it. So if he's threatening it, then that's good. And then now he has the E-Strike Arsenal.
To pump it up and get damage. But I do quite like the play here of setting up a 5.
Like, if he had a Ball Lightning that turn as well, it would have been even better.
Is his plan to like try to fatigue this deck,
Who?
or is he just like Matt Rogers' plan?
well, you cannot do anything
This was the turn.
offensively against them while they have Channel Mount Heroic down.
Yeah, that's true.
Still
It seriously outputs more damage than anything in the game.
Yeah, it's the most efficient offensive card.
This is certainly for Tom's deck is
As long as they draw attack action cards to follow up behind that card, it has more value than anything.
Yep.
And took it down.
You know, I used to play Runeblade, but I see the error of my ways. That's some BS.
I think the closest thing would be like Spectral Shield with Glisten.
Let's see what Tom has lined up here.
And like Ode, it would take a lot of setup to, because like Mount Heroic, once you hit 2 attacks, it's perfectly efficient, like as a normal card. Anything after 2 is just really good. That's like swinging with the Glisten token for 3 turns.
It looks like a yellow ball.
Yeah, honestly, like Yellow Glisten compared to Mount Heroic is very similar. the amount
and
of
then you get someone to
hits you
commit,
get with it,
you know, a defending card
but it's
as
way
well.
harder to
So I feel
do Glisten than Mount Heroic.
if you know, if Tom's trying to push through as much damage as possible, then
He's got a lightning
this might be
press,
the way to
right?
do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what does he have to follow this up? So we've got a nimbalism, so the chain has been closed.
Interesting with him constantly closing the chain behind balls.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see something like an enlightened strike for 10 here potentially.
But he is staring at the.
You strike an
lightning strike
Arsenal,
with his
lightning
Arsenal.
press in hand.
And I think we're already seeing the impact.
Oh,
of
I guess he's
Ice
trying to go
React
for the
because
E
Tom
strike,
knows if he
tuck a
chooses to
card,
Post lightning
and
press.
he gets Ice
come in
Reacted,
for
he won't
10
get the
here, and
benefit
then
of
lightning
those
press
in
off the Ice React into a 13 hit.
Yeah.
I don't think you ice react
Okay, so Tom really taking his
Well,
time
yeah,
here,
not on
which
a
is
10
totally
attack.
understandable.
because we know that
Mm-hmm.
there's
So
a
it
lightning
looks
press.
Like we'll probably
Right, and you know that the Ice React
Public
isn't
knowledge
really
right now.
anything.
So that is just coming in. For
Yeah, I
you.
mean, Matt should remember.
But of course, he can pop his boots.
He can pop the boots. I suspect he may hold on to those for now because those are quite critical for a huge turn at some point in the game. I do quite like the enlightened strike for 10 here because again it means he can have access to that 5-card hand potentially next turn. If he gets ice reacted, it's not really the absolute end of the world.
So Spinal Crush. Oh, and there's the fancy Fate for Scene.
Yep, printed in traditional
Blocking
Chinese. Beautiful
7.
card.
Yeah.
So that's defending for 7 currently.
Mm.
Yep, so the players I think are just working it through. So Matt's choosing to take 3 here. I can see Matt has the enlightened strike in hand. So he has the option, quite a powerful play on Oldhim is the enlightened strike for 5, draw a card, because in a way it doesn't matter what card goes into your arsenal because you can crown seeds it away if you need to.
Yeah.
But we'll see, and I think that may be what he's choosing to do here. We'll have a look.
Yep.
Okay, so
You
he's
don't
going for
even look at the
strike,
cards you draw.
Yeah, it's...
Now we'll see. I have a feeling, depending on Tom's hand, like sometimes with Briar you can get stuck with like no access to go again, and so you choose to defend because you can't use all your cards efficiently. But in this spot, if he's liking what it
This is
looks
a fun
like, I
game.
think he's just like, you know what, happy to take the damage.
Takes a hand, but importantly, Matt
Yeah.
now has a card in Arsenal, so now he's able to draw. You know, he's got a 5-card hand now.
Yeah, both players have a chance of winning this
With
one.
that, so
Mhm.
we see what it was.
It looked like a sync below potentially.
Oh,
Tome of Harvests,
there we go.
putting a...
Digging for channel
Now I
mounts.
think what Matt doesn't want to see here
There's
is a scar
that,
for a skin, 'cause I'll tell you what,
surging
I played a
lightning
and he's
press
putting
going.
the Force of Nature at the bottom, which is like a really good combo
You get your
with
opponent's
his
one
stuff.
life below you, and then they punish you with that scar.
Could be his only blue.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
scars
too.
from scars, you know, doing
It's a
damage
good
since
card.
The very beginning of Fab. If you're unaware, the very first official Fab event was actually in Ireland.
Oh, and
Dang.
there we go.
Barely below.
Event where
Yep.
many scars were
That's all
played
it
that day.
That's
takes.
the best place to be.
To be fair, I don't know if Tom actually had this in his hand, so he's happy to take the damage to go. But either way, I think he's probably pretty happy that he's got the scar press card down here. And imagine, Matt might be shaking his head a little bit, going,
He's saying, why the fates do? Oh, well, you're right. It was a defense. It was a sink below.
Yep, so that's
Okay,
a pretty
that's
good
his
draw
third
from
sync,
Lightning
right?
Strike. Yeah, it's pretty fortunate he drew it. That you could
That's what he's checking.
it's not a huge deal. If you got, defense reaction's nice.
Then
but
he
because
might
the
have
way
pitched
Crown
Yeah,
one.
that's all
No, that's his
three.
third
could
sync,
really
yeah.
have any
Yeah.
card there.
And then he's done at least
To be
one
honest with you,
Fate.
short sync was probably the
That's a
best
lot
one
of graveyard
because,
right there.
The deck runs
Yeah,
like
it
defense
is.
reactions. I think that may be the first or second one we've seen.
It's falling like, full.
That's a
full
thick
number
old
of
graveyard.
Fates and synchros.
I believe so, and very good at hitting these breakpoints there. Now, does Tom have a second? Let's see if he has a second on attack action to hit on the embodiment of lightning.
If he had like the Mount Heroic out, of course that scar would be coming in for a lot more.
It would indeed. Okay, so we see.
Break the chain,
Is
get
that a
token.
pulse of Eisenloft us all in hand?
Embodiment of lightning, the chain is
No, I don't think so.
I didn't see.
One interesting thing as
They're
well
keeping
is
it
this
out of
card
camera
sometimes
view.
Cool interactions between the shield and non-attack
Staunch,
actions to
like,
embodiments, because these
some
non-attack
ice
actions reset
card.
the chain as well.
Yeah, giving him another go. Oh, and
Snatch with Go again.
Now this is a very powerful play.
Busted.
coming on
It does
stage
look like a
for-
pulse.
So it's not being buffed by the Weave Earth, but it is coming in for 4 with Go again. Now Matt does not have an Arsenal card, so he doesn't really have access to that, Crown of Seeds efficient block here.
Yeah.
But he does have access to the Rampant of the Rancid if he really wants to use it, but not. And he's actually got the Tunic, so it actually is really efficient here if he wants it.
would he throw away the tunic at this point in the game?
Oh no, sorry, Alan. To clarify, I meant he can use the resources from the Tunic to turn on the Rampant.
I was going to wonder for a second there.
one thing, I think I did spy a Command and Conquer in Tom's hand. Now,
Well, Tom's got Command and Conquer in hand. Is that what they just said?
that's the thing against Oldhim with access to currency.
That'll be nuts.
Yeah.
You know,
If he can-
That's what it sounded like they said.
Command and Conquer's not that great against Oldhim.
True, because he can just crown,
very,
but
very good. But in this particular situation,
still a 6.
maybe not as good. So he has used that tunic to activate the rampant of the Ram's Head. This is defending for 4. He's probably pretty confident Tom doesn't have lightning press, seeing as we've seen two of them already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Pulse.
Oh, okay. He's got the pulse of ice and loft. So really
Double
good
reacting
because
here.
It kind of shuts down. It puts up
Briar
the
has
prevention shield, and on top
a
of
press,
that, it is
right?
you know, you get the double. So
No, they
Another
put it on the
snatch.
bottom for
Okay.
something.
Yeah, they used it for the Toma Harvest, I think.
That's it, yeah.
Check it out, but if we can't,
Another
we totally
snatch.
focus on this game, 'cause this is a
Which the
very
Earth React is
game.
stopping.
So we'll come back in another
The damage.
Point. So the 2 damage shield, prevention shield that
I think there's a CNC on top of his deck now.
The 2 there has fully blocked out that snatch. And
Great.
again, I think
Took no
Tom's
damage.
just struggling a little bit to get
Yep.
the damage
That's
through.
pretty sick.
One thing to keep in mind, he does have those 2
Oh, almost drew an
channel
extra
map
card.
heroics left in the deck. But so far, Matt putting on a bit of a masterclass. Now, I haven't seen any Zealous belting.
Like, without... I feel like he should have just swung the Rosetta with that snatch instead of attacking with it.
I feel like Oldham's graveyards got more cards than Briar.
Yeah, but either way, I feel like when you're threatening 4 with no go again, or 4 with no go again,
Either way,
I think that may be
it's still 4 damage. The only reason that you would do Rosetta is you're worried about being fatigued out,
Right.
which looks like what's happening here.
Yeah.
Because
because he wasn't going to get to use that card anyway.
Yeah, no damage would have gotten through because he already had the 2 damage prevention.
Having a Guardian deck that has go again is a fairly novel idea.
It is.
For the longest of time, it's been defend, hit hard, or just fatigue your opponent. So, but yeah, those are
Why
the
not crown
options
before
of the Oldhim-
blocks?
of the Oldhim Armory.
Okay, so we've seen Matt.
Because you don't necessarily want to have to use it. You can do it at any time, so there's no rush.
There's 2 resources to activate the.
I would rather crown
Ram's
before
if need be.
I get an extra card to block with. I mean, shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't block the. Oh, we see the Art of War. Now, Art of War incredibly efficient because sometimes.
Ooh.
The thing about
Art of War
Oldhim
is so
is that
good in
it allows
Oldhim.
you
It's
to
it's
defend
really underrated. I've only
efficiently
seen one
with your
person
tech
run it
action. That
recently.
runs a significant
Yeah,
number of
Crown
resources.
Shield with Art of War is
The other
just
thing
free
is as well,
resources.
when you pitch a blue card, you use 1 resource for Crown.
Our local
one for
aggro
Mana
hemp
Bolt,
player runs
and
it.
sometimes you have that 3rd resource floating,
Yeah.
maybe for Arcane Barrier. But in situations where you're not facing down Arcane damage,
I have to think about it. I won't deny.
to use that 3rd resource, it's actually
Seeing in action is, I mean, that's fucking good.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before either. It looks really nice.
That's true.
So this blocking 4 out of 5, and then he crowns, so it blocks it all.
Yeah, and Command and Conquer, powerful card, you know, sometimes we like to say CNCs get degrees, but in this particular situation...
And it's just getting him to his pitch stack even quicker.
Thinking it's not going to be quite the tempo play that I need it to be, and Tom may actually not off an Arsenal card if he doesn't need to, so that may have influenced his decision here.
It's just much easier to get rid of it at this point if you don't think it's going to have the payoff.
Absolutely.
Matchup, so.
So you see Tom deciding to
Rune
activate the
Chant
Rune Chant here.
Rosetta.
Not the most efficient play because the null rune boots with the 1 resource active are going to be great to defend against us here. But it does kind of force Matt into, you know, defending
Arsenal
a card
Command and Conquer.
for just a weapon attack. I think the final card in Tom's hand. Oh, is he going to frost
Big
him
nice
here?
react.
He
Yeah, it
is.
is.
So I believe that card's a Command and Conquer in Tom's hand.
The Ice React is really messing up the
Like we said,
Briar up.
Command and Conquer,
It is.
not the greatest card.
Having a 2 cost to attack
against this
action
Oldhim deck because of the Crown of Seas.
dumbs him down.
Now, Matt has
And just generally, he can't ever leverage his 5-card hand.
We've already seen 2 scars
Yeah.
from
I think
Ooh,
Matt
4
might
went
have
on it.
taken 2 damage there, and he should have only taken 1. I think he had a floating damage
And one
prevention.
cool little play here, I think
He
this is
used it
something
on that
to
E-Strike
step up
with the
these games.
crown.
See Matt pitch a ice card to the Winter's Whale. Now I know he
Okay,
did take
maybe
2
I
damage
missed
from the
something.
Rosetta Thorn
Because he
last
blocked
time,
for
but
4,
it's
it came in
actually
for
turned out
5,
Tom's
and
ability
then
to defend for 2 with the
crown.
Iron Skull Cap. I think Tom would have loved him to be able to throw the Skull Cap and one of his other big blocks.
Has he ran Tunic in almost every matchup? Have you seen Tectonic at all?
And here,
No, it's been Heart of Ice and
a little
Tunic.
bit worse to throw
Heart of
two
Ice and Tunic.
guaranteed block for 2s in front of
What
What do you
about
run Heart of Ice
Crash
in?
And Grasp is
About what?
Grasp just because it has that 2 defense on it.
It's been
I
Crown
think
in every
we've only
matchup.
seen Tunic.
No, we saw Heart of Ice against Prism, but it maybe it'd been different Oldhim.
That was a different one.
That was the last one, the one they got crapped on.
Yeah.
Just destroyed. There was a 40-0 game, guys.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically
Prism beat
worse
Oldhim.
because the Prism had shields up at the end.
Kind of wisdom, if you put it that way, is in very
I do like the image of Oldhim wearing a woman's
Tunic.
dress.
Yeah,
And that's
right.
why I'm also double sigil turn
turns,
1.
the game goes 15, 20 turns long. That's a lot of free
Yeah,
resources.
he played all 3 sigils throughout the game.
Yeah, so 49-0.
Thrown away Tunic too early, thinking just throwing away too early, and then having so many turns.
You can watch it on Dozer's YouTube channel.
That's right.
Just making wrong.
Overload. I'm a big fan of that card in Mount Heroic Briar.
And so, like I said,
You're so excited when you're
That was
right.
the first card I decided I wanted to put into Earth Briar. And then Cheerios Briar was just better.
quite like that, because it has dominate. If it hit, that has go again.
And look at him using Overload. Shout out to you, Tom Penny.
Tom wants to take this opportunity to throw out the command and conquer.
So on the Viscera and Prism match, if you're looking at the chat, they're saying it's a very tight match. Both players are less than 15 life each.
Yeah, it's a close
And
matchup.
Let's do it. So there we see
the Prism player has Library now.
Crown of Siege is cycling that card back to the bottom, prevention shield up.
How many rune chants do you know?
Oldhim's so powerful, right? Because you can defend with one card here.
I think it'll just come down to the wire for Viserai Prism. It depends on
Maybe wants to
the draw order for both
Yeah,
players.
the rune chant number doesn't matter because it's a mid-range Viscerai.
a bit of fireworks here
Yeah.
because
You're not gonna play
the old man
OTK into
Oldhim has
Prism.
got a premier attack, the Oakenhold, and
You got a
Albion
hand.
down.
No, here we go.
And that's
Yes.
dual fused.
Oakenhold double fuse.
Yeah.
He's got grasp.
Has a good way to defend the
He has
game.
to double
Has
check.
timed this very
He's
well.
got 1 block on skill. So he's got 4 block on board, and he's got a token.
A counter on it already. So at max,
So-
Do you block with Skeletor here, or do you hold it?
No, he can't stop the Oakenhold coming in for 9 dominate. He doesn't run D-reacts.
There's not going to be enough to shut
Yeah.
this down.
Yeah. So this could be. I mean, this could be a pretty big swing considering double fused. I mean, that's coming in for.
You just take it.
That's a very big deal. No, I don't think you can afford to take it.
How does he defend against this?
I think one option open to Tom here is he may actually consider.
Oldhim soft. Oh, you're just swinging CNC? Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I think you take 9 here.
It really depends. I can't quite see his hand.
Yeah, and then you have a 2-card hand in an arsenal to do something with.
Or 5 to 6
Yeah.
damage, and then
Save your armor. I mean, it's not gonna help you here.
Right.
one card in hand, which isn't really doing anything. The issue is, of course, the cards are random, so you could end up you could end up gambling a little bit here and getting severe.
Have we seen any Oldhim matches on camera that have gone to time?
No, they've all gone
No.
quick.
So all right. So
But most
Yeah.
of them,
And
Matt
this is-
Rogers,
17
Right.
right now.
he played
There's
against
also no
Kale.
time right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Well, yeah.
when Matt Rogers was playing against Kale, Matt was playing a very aggressive Oldhim suite and was able to end the game pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Took the full 9.
Left with 2 cards, but
Yeah, I watched that one on your channel, David.
Yeah, nice.
I believe. Can we just get double check it? Are those
It's a good
random,
match.
the Oakenhold?
Yeah.
they are two
This is a good match too. This is like a really good match.
They do go to the bottom of a deck, so they could be seen again, possibly.
It all depends on whether or not the Briar has a late game insurance policy.
It's probably. Alright, they're just using some dice to
And now he
randomly
chooses those 2 on what order?
sort it out, and Tom's looking at what he's lost.
Okay, and the thing is,
There's a stinging bald at the bottom. 10 out of
Alright,
10.
so Viscerai's at 4 HP, Prism's at 6.
Ooh.
There's a Merciful on the
As
field.
long as he doesn't get hit with
That
That's a
matters.
spicy game.
One thing we haven't seen from Tom, which
There are no
I'm sure
shields
he
in
really
play.
wants to get going, is we
How
have
much
not
soul does
seen
Prism
a
have?
thunder turn at all this game. And I think he needs
I don't
something
know.
like that in order to really push through the damage. So he's been
I feel like I'm watching, like, I'm listening to people talk about sports right now.
Yeah.
Like, alright, how does this guy get to the Super Bowl? This team has to lose to this team. And
we cannot play any more points.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Just for the sake of saying goodbye.
Okay, so
this
let's see
is
what
our
Tom's
Super
doing
Bowl.
here. Now,
Because
You
these are the
have
best
to
players in the world.
might be an
If
example
if
of
Matt
this,
wins
but I'm not
this,
100% sure.
he's not favored against either Prism or Viscerai.
Yeah.
The life totals are still so close in this matchup.
Yeah, I swear, if Rohan comes back and wins the event, I'm just gonna, like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna unsubscribe.
I'm gonna reach out and give him a congratulations.
Okay, so we've got the force
Yeah.
of nature fused with the weave earth.
I mean, he's a good player.
And we're about to find out, is this the exude or yes?
So it is an exude. Now we might see if Tom wants to in the attack.
Is his Viscerai list, have we seen enough of it? Is it like yours, Chris, or Matt?
Sort of,
It seemed pretty standard.
Or
Yeah.
maybe he'll pass over Matt to the Crown of Seeds. We'll just have to see.
Prism won. There was a double merciful for the win.
There you go.
I think we've just
Wow.
got word that
Prism's
Prism
back on
has
top.
won the other
Yep.
semi-final. I
Close
believe.
match
Does
for
your
Prism
stream
Guardians.
coming true?
Now we just gotta have
That's not
Matt
confirmed
Rogers
yet,
win
but,
here. It looks
Not
like he
absolutely
will.
confirmed yet, but
If things
we'll get that
continue in this
confirmed
way.
for you.
Dozer, have you noticed anything different about these prism
it's true
lists?
that does mean Nick Oldhim is again
No.
undefeated.
The biggest thing I've noticed is that there's very few Briars at the tournament as a whole.
Yeah,
And
so it
then
helped out.
there's a lot of good players on anti-Briar decks like Oldhim and stuff like Matt on Oldhim here. And so
Gotcha.
they're
What I'm
weeding them
hearing,
out. Like if the Briar had fought Prism here, Prism would be knocked out immediately.
It's fruit of the finals.
But because
So the meta just kind of corrected itself, and we didn't even need the bans, really.
well, I wouldn't say that. Because
I think we might just
the,
have a
the,
priority
the meta is
if
literally
this is in the
Runeblade,
defending window as opposed to reaction
Guardian,
step, Matt would not be able to play the
and then
favorites.
Prism because Prism beats Guardian.
We'll just double check
So
with
the
Yeah,
Rock,
sure.
paper,
but what I'm
scissors.
hearing is Dash is back on the menu.
I don't know about that.
no, 'cause
Matt's deck looks pretty thin.
There's a
To
rules
me.
question going on right now
Oh,
about
it's
priority with the exude.
if this is in the attacking step before it's gone to reaction step,
as far as I recall, there's never a time where you can actually beat the exude
and then Matt will not
pump.
be able to react.
Because I'm pretty sure that you can activate the instant in response to your opponent putting the card down to block with.
That may have been a slight misstep.
So unless the defending player has an instant like Art of War,
You know, worst case, it's
to
kind of
play,
just giving away a bit of information.
it's like
Now, Tom, that's
the
probably
exude
not
can always
the
pump
party
itself
wants to
before you get to
draw the
reactions,
Pulse of
for
Candle Hold.
instance.
I mean, one thing to keep in mind is that it
It's a really
can
good
use to
card.
put the Channel Mount Rock back on top if he really needs to.
Does exude block 2 or 3?
2.
Two.
Okay.
Ooh.
Nice, slow the game down.
Yep, Frigid's good here.
Yeah.
So Channel Lake Frigid, very good against Briar.
Wow, Matt's
That's
deck
the
does look really
first one
thin.
we've seen, so he's
Mhm.
probably got
Rock does run a number of additional
several
abilities.
turns of channels coming up here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now Tom
It's been a while since we've seen a channel.
All of them, I think, have been pitched.
Yeah, both of them.
Does he
are
run
damage.
Remembrance? Do we know?
We haven't seen them yet.
I believe it's a Pulse of Candle Hold in Tom's arsenal at the moment.
I feel like we would have seen it, but
So
Pulse
they
of
can
Candle Hold's
use
kind of
to
better,
get back the
so it
Channel
helps
Mount
set up
Rock
the
back on
combo.
top, along with something like,
This Briar list
the
does run
Lilith
a
Council,
considerable
Play
amount of
next turn.
blues.
Mm-hmm.
But I see a tome as
But makes
well.
sense,
See a Tome
like
of Harvest, though. Channel
Harvest,
Lake Frigid is
etc.
really doing a lot of work here,
He's
'cause
got
instead of just
Tome in
pitching
hand.
one card to play it,
For the
it does
Mountain
cost
Heroic.
4. So I feel like this game's still a
Haven't
bit
seen
nice.
Sting of
Like I
Sorcery
said,
though.
I
Maybe he
feel
doesn't even run it at all.
Matt does have the
Now that you
strength
mention it, I
to
don't think he does, because I haven't seen it.
anything can happen in these
So that's
games.
good. He just wasted an attack because this channel's out.
Okay, and I think I spotted a Gorganian Tome in Tom's hand.
What's in Matt's hand?
That's
Blizzard,
why Frigid's
Glacial,
actually doing
Tear,
a lot
and
right
Vapor
now.
Seed?
So if this would be if that lake
Yep.
if the lake wasn't down,
Glacial
Tom would
Tear.
possibly be
Is that a
doing
Forge
just-
Roar, or is that like another Guardian attack?
I couldn't
Is
quite
that not
see
Fate for
what
Scene?
work and
Oh, I
hands.
can't tell with that artwork, the new one.
I shouldn't say heroic and
Yeah.
just-
You're probably right. And then, yeah.
The only way for him to keep channel is to seeds and draw an ice card. I wonder if he does that, or if he
semi-locking him down.
Okay,
really
now I think
can't.
the
He's gotten a lot of value out of
does
this
seem to have a
channel
number of
already.
cards in hand.
Yeah,
I see a
Tom
Sage
has
and
pitched
you can
2
see
attack
there's a
cards
Sonata there as
to
well.
continue his
Is it
turn,
third
and all he's done
Sonata,
is
eh?
draw
Would that be
cards.
the third Sonata?
And you can also think about it as the channel has already taxed the Briar 2 resources. Yeah, which is.
Do you think Briar's just digging for heroic here? Is that why they're just trying to draw as many cards?
Probably.
To maybe arsenal her a heroic here and just say pass?
Yeah, because the Briar's only got 17 HP left, so she can only chest like 2 Oldhim turns. So she'll
Yeah,
probably
it's
try
definitely
and...
Fate for Scene.
Once the Briar passes by applying no pressure, then the Oldhim starts gaining control of the game.
Of course, Matt has a full
He doesn't want to get low life first Oldhim.
including a fate for scene in there.
Skullcap is active now as well.
To get out
That
of
is a
this
fate for
this
scene in
turn,
hand.
Or does he just have to continue? I mean, what are his options here?
I feel playing the Snatch Out might be his best bet. I mean, again, with that
Not
check,
bad.
with
3
that
resources
Yep.
for the
taxed.
rampant ram
So
set,
now
with Crown of Seeds,
Lake Bridge has
Matt's
gotten
feeling very
more
good
value
about
than
the
it was
limit
ever
or
supposed
just the
to.
fate for scene, that'll do it too.
And if he spends anything more this turn, it's just more free value for Oldhim.
Whatever he saw.
Yeah, now Tom, I can't quite see. I think he has a Sonata and a Lightning Surge, so we'll see if he might just.
It was a
upsell
very
Pulse
well
and turn in
timed
for next turn.
channel.
What is the
Very good, yeah.
I'd say the Lightning Surge because it gets go again and played from Arsenal.
This turn would have gotten very wide.
Now, how long do you think Matt can keep around the lake for?
We'll have to see. I know he does run a fairly large number of ice cards, so you know he does have the potential to have it around for next turn as well.
Oh, just straight up ended it.
I think that channel just turned 15 plus attack turn into a 4 attack turn.
Yeah. Channel Lake Frigid is a
Sonata, Nimblism, Overload Ball.
Yeah.
Okay, if he's
It's a
able to
blizzard.
Let's go ice card.
and play something like the
Come
Glacial
on,
Footsteps,
baby.
Oh, if he gets an ice card off of that, that'd be really funny.
Very, very dicey for Tom. One thing for Tom is he does have the Arcanite
He
Skullcap.
bottomed a card earlier. It doesn't look like it. Ooh.
Okay, so it looks like he's come down with the Glacial Footsteps.
No fuse though, just raw damage.
Now, I think Tom would...
I guess you kind of want them to block a little bit.
As a finisher in the very end game, it does matter. But for now, he just kind of wants the strip cards from Tom's hand.
Yeah, so we don't want to
Do you block this if you're the Briar, like at all, or do you just take it
That's correct. Now,
and come back with 5 cards?
this may be a
Take
bit
it like a
of
man.
if he's willing to take
That's what I
this
thought.
damage.
You know, channel's breaking.
Unless you have a bad hand.
Going to go away. Only one ice card in the...
Because
like,
there's no way
channel's
that
going away.
yeah,
It's
there's no
a
way channel-
Sonata, Nimblism, Ball Lightning. I can't remember the fourth. Overload. That's it.
Might be my opportunity to come back.
So you probably just take it because you got Sonata.
Take the value block.
So does he just throw the skull cap in here?
Great value.
Skullcap block here just because at this point in the game the life totals can sort of change quite quickly, particularly if Tom has a very big turn lined up.
Oh, that deck is small.
Alright, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, is Matt Rogers almost fatigued?
For that turn, but,
It's a very thin deck.
he's got a 4
I don't know how thin. Of course, it's hard to tell. I have no idea how many cards the Briar has.
I've only seen, like, that's the first time I've seen Plunder run
most of the plunder runs.
in his deck. Does he not run 9?
I think the plunder run is pretty central to the game.
Didn't he play
because
some
you need
early?
to be able to
I
have a
didn't
big
see
enough
them.
attack that you sort of can't go through.
Yeah, so you're going to be disappointed seeing all of those come together on your side. I mean, at least the deck is shuffled now.
Okay, we Arcane. This is the last Sonata.
Potentially spotted a channel Mount Heroic in Tom's turn, in Tom's hand. Maybe incorrect, a little bit tough to see, but we'll see what happens there.
One day we'll get cams on the hands.
We will now.
Cams on the
Now Matt has pitched an ice card here. We can't quite see if he's got another one in hand. This could be quite
Man, this is a
interesting
fun
idea.
fucking game.
You know, even if he doesn't have the ice
Yeah.
card, he might be saying, well, you know, I'm pitching it to this. So
Both players are still in it.
Alright,
Yeah.
symbolism. Setting up the,
No missed triggers.
So we've got the embodiment of Earth down.
Yep.
Overload.
Here we see the
Overload with Dominate. And guaranteed go again, which is fine, because Oldhim can stop Dominate no problem.
So Matt will be able to.
So it's good that he gave it the token here.
5 just with a card plus shield plus crown. If he has the Earth card as well,
This coming in for 6 Dominate.
will be enough to stop it. So I think Tom really, really, really wants us to hit. So
And him forcing out the breakpoint covering cards here would be really good if he has a good follow-up here.
So Rampart.
Even if his follow-up is just Rosetta.
Yeah, now
Does he have any Fate for scenes left? I think that's all of them.
another ice card.
He might have one left.
Be quite
Maybe
powerful.
one.
So he's willing to throw away the other command and conquer.
3, 4, 5. Take.
2.
But he takes some damage.
Oh yeah.
So chooses
He didn't use
to
shield.
Rampart here,
Okay.
which I kind of agree with because you might want to save that for the breakpoint for like a 4-power attack that comes in after.
Yeah, there's no on-hit being threatened there. Yeah, ball.
Oh, actually,
A blue ball?
if viewers have
Can't
pointed
tell.
out,
Looks
it's
red.
Go again because of the embodiment of lightning. So it was a slightly lower risk play than we might have thought.
Did he shuffle his deck off
So it's gonna
the
be
Sonata yet?
Third command and conquer.
Yeah, he
Red
did.
ball,
Just such
ice react.
disrespect to this iconic card, but like some matchups, some cards,
Yep.
some cards just aren't that useful. So
Okay, so it looks like
Wouldn't have been correct then to close the combat chain, make a rune chant with grasp, and then ball swing Rosetta?
okay. Our apologies, everyone. We have unfortunately.
Probably. That sounds big brain.
We have unfortunately. Okay, no, we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. We had a minor.
Because if he had if he didn't have a blue, then it's fine. It plays fine. But if he had a blue in hand, then that would have let him push a lot more damage.
Okay, so here we see the lightning surge come down for 4. So it looks like Matt has the enlightened strike in arsenal. And I think for Tom here, his game plan at this stage is he really, he needs that one big turn to put Mac.
I think Briar's counting how many cards he has.
Came from Arsenal.
By Channel Mount
Yeah.
Heroic to sort of
Forgo again.
Together with the Snapdragon scalers.
Oh god.
Is Tom getting to the point where, because previously
It's like
you know, you've seen,
25-ish
Tom
cards.
take some
Yeah.
hits to rally
Trust
a
me,
turn.
Oldhim's not gonna run out
Now
here.
that he's down to 10,
Because you can just
how
keep
many of
pitching
those
to
hits
block.
can he take?
I think the answer is
Mhm.
very few. He's quickly losing that flexibility. Even things like the blue glacial footsteps, things like cranial crush.
Like Oldhim's card economy is going to go down by 1 every turn
Spots at this stage.
in his
I
deck.
did see Matt looking at the
Off
number
of pitching for Earth React, Crown,
Yes.
checking
Shield,
his
and
resources
Weapon.
there.
He hasn't been doing Earth React
But
much.
yeah, but Tom still does have.
No, but if he
about
needs to, he
three,
can.
Well, he's
Yeah.
got 1 on his skull cap, and still
He can
he's got
stop,
his,
4
his
damage every
grasp
turn.
is unused at the moment. And I mean,
Swing back
is
the
that
card in
important?
Arsenal.
It is very
So he can do
relevant, particularly with things
8
like
value
Open
every
Ocean
turn
Development
infinitely.
Bodies of Earth.
Oh, we're ending on a
Kind of comes
CNC here.
down for,
Okay.
for 6.
I'm thinking this deck also doesn't really have
Okay, so
much Earth cards in it.
for 4.
Mm.
No,
I
it
think
doesn't.
Tom may be happy enough just sort of getting through a couple of points of damage here.
Takes
Still keeping his
2.
skull cap on. So this is beautiful.
Another thing to note as well, the skull cap, having that additional defend for 1 on that is actually very, very good for things like the Winter's Whale. So it allows Tom to just use 1 card to defend against it if he wants to here.
Good point. That one somebody mentioned in the.
There's
Okay,
Candle
here's-
Hold. This has got to be the setup turn, I think.
Mentally at this point, because this.
What do you get
This
back?
is not a quick match. There's
You think?
Probably
you
Force
think
of
he
Nature.
has?
who of these
Do you
two
think he
players
has a
do you
Mount
think is gonna be
Heroic
coping with this
chilling
match?
in Arsenal?
He needs to have one soon, and I feel like if you've got
Did-
Force of Nature Overload, I don't know if you can put Overload on top, probably not.
Did he just Arsenal that card the previous turn?
No, it's
No.
been there.
Has been there? Okay.
The last card we see come out of Arsenal was a Lightning Surge.
Matt has done an incredible job of playing a very strong defensive game here. He knows that, look, there's not that many power cards left. There's the Channel Mountain Ropes, which I'm going to have to deal with. But if I can keep things pretty even for just a few more turns, I might be able to start pulling ahead here.
But again, whoever wins this match still has another final. The other semi-final is done, so the winner, Nick Holding of that, is probably is taking some time to decompress after his match. And that's a big thing, getting your game face on after a match.
Yeah, big congratulations to Nick Holding. A bit of trivia for our local and international viewers is Rohan Khanna and Tom Penny are both sort of testing partners. So it seems they'll be pretty happy that they've managed to both make it through to the top 4. So here we see, I think Tom needs to make something happen right now. So he's chosen to defend with 4 with the Bloodshea Skeleton, the Skull Cap, and the Grasp. Those are the big blocks gone. So if he hits by something like Spinal Crush, Oakenol with Dominate, that it's going to be full shields down. So
This has got to be a
you
big
think
turn.
Basically, Tom is doing this because he believes.
Yeah, he's got to do something here. Oldhim's got a lot of block, though. This is, like we were saying, this is favorite Oldhim from the beginning. So the Briar has to work really hard to win here.
There was just going to sort of devastate him. Then he may have just thought, I need to do
And
it,
so
but
far,
I can't
we haven't
just
really
bleed
seen a
out
pitch
slowly.
stack going
I
on,
need to make something happen.
especially with the Sonata shuffling her deck.
Yeah.
Tom checking his library. And the Snapdragon, the scale.
Snowing in Florida, guys.
The Snapdragon's alive, and I think that that's probably
It is
one of the
snowing in
biggest cards
Florida.
Matt's concerned about.
Nice.
Oh, that happens?
Obviously, things like Plunder Run and Channel Mount Heroic are massive.
Sign of the apocalypse.
It's a sign that Oldhim's gonna take this,
Plunder Run,
and he's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
wreck Prism.
Is that the same Prism that lost to the Visceri
No.
on stream, or is it a different one?
No, this is the God Prism.
They've
Oh.
only lost 1 game the whole tournament.
Hey, I know what you're getting back.
Exciting.
Power of suggestion.
Do you think the Prism is like, I don't really want to play against Matt, but I don't want to play against the Briar either?
That's a valid response, yeah.
Now, the one interesting thing is Tom's timing here because
But you would pick the Oldhim every
Alright,
time.
so he Candle Hold. I saw the Mount Heroic.
Yep, on Heroic and Ball on top now. So he's setting up. He's got a Lightning token.
Might get a little bit stuck there.
Yeah. So if Matt, what is?
He's definitely got to try and pressure this turn to clear the way for a full turn next turn. And then he's still got to fight through Crown Shield
Unfortunately, we don't have access to that.
defense
If he had
reaction.
something like a Spinal Crush, or an Oakenol with Fuse, he probably wants to keep between his hand and arsenal.
I don't know if he has any more Oakenolds in his
Two cards
deck.
to pitch, 1 card to play a big power card.
Yeah, probably not. His deck's
I
probably
think he
mostly
played one
blue at
blocked
this
with
point.
two.
If there is one, it's from
Yeah.
Seeds or Crown.
Okay, so I think the players are just
Crown, crown.
making sure everything's above.
Is that where you're drinking?
No.
Brief judge call, but we'll be right back into the action. And I think, yeah, I feel both players here, I think, are pretty well aware that this is kind of the turning point in the game, these next few turns.
Be really interested to see.
What are we thinking about right now?
I mean, he's probably.
I think the
thinking
Briar
dual.
player.
I think the Briar's probably worried about pitch next turn for the heroic into Earth, and he's probably like an Earth blue in hand. And he's thinking, do I use it now, or do I just have a dead turn to try and have a better turn next turn?
I mean, it's unlikely that Oldhim has a pressuring attack that can deal 10 or effect with his hand other than a frostbite, right?
Yeah, because he's already used all his CNCs to block.
Yeah, I believe Tom,
Yeah.
Why is there a CNC in the banished zone?
Art of War.
Oh,
because of the way Matt has navigated
That's right.
this game. He's played it very well defensively, making excellent use of the ice react ability on Oldhim.
Yeah, so all three CNCs are gone.
Oh, looks like they called a judge.
Why?
For Candlehold?
Right up until now, I mean, certainly, plunder run is certainly important for his big turn. So,
Absolutely.
Tom has been fighting his deck a little bit in that respect.
Seems like a legal play. Well, what's the question?
Not being able to get those big plunder run turns off from Arsenal, which are really the turns that you can really push through the damages.
All right, I'm gonna head to bed. You guys have fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Sleep good, sleep tight, baby.
The Pulse was a legal play. Earth or Lightning.
Was it because those two cards he put in his hand, maybe? Because he had them near his hand, and then he put them back on the field.
Alright, still some discussion going on here.
True.
So I think we're just
But the cards would be known public information.
Yeah.
I think we're just
I just know in Magic that's like a huge no-no.
Okay, so I'm not. We'll let the judges sort this out. We can't speculate because we don't have the audio.
Maybe he's gonna get an IP5, like the Prism and Matt's
No,
last game.
Logan, I think you might be right because like how Matt Rogers was just gesturing.
Showing the deck, yeah.
Players and the judges work it out.
It feels like rule sharking a little bit there.
It does.
So
We know the
back-to-back
cards.
games.
Public information.
Yeah, for both players.
That does seem a bit interesting. Anyhow, looks like they're gonna
It
proceed.
seems resolved.
I like how in the very first game we ever were talking about, it was like, oh, we're not the UK, and then
That was a different player.
It
That
was.
wasn't. That wasn't these two.
it's true.
I believe that man lost.
He did.
Okay, yeah. So like we say, we don't really have information just yet.
Someone.
Looks like, yeah, it's a
Let's
judge
see. What's the comment saying?
just taking a quick bathroom break.
Matt trying to say Tom only went to put one card on top, so he can't put the Channel Mount Heroic back, I think.
We don't actually have an official confirmation on what the judge call was, what the situation was.
And now both players left for a bathroom break.
We will
Okay.
see if we can get that for you
Okay.
shortly. But for now, I just encourage players.
So we're taking a small break.
You know, put down the pitchforks for a moment, and we'll see what's going on here.
I like my pitchfork.
Ooh, I'm not liking this.
For who?
Yes, speculation is
Well,
all
we
you
don't
can,
have enough
and you
information,
have to wait
but
on and see.
based on the information that we have from the chat, this is just a straight up rule shark.
Because rule sharking's also in the
But-
penalty code.
Just want to remind everyone of all the
I don't know, I think we should wait for till we have more information.
This guy said, "This is Matt Rogers, right? Not Matt Folks."
That's an unfortunate
Ugh.
naming coincidence.
God damn.
So much coming up. I mean, there is an event for everybody, and we want everybody together in the flesh and blood. I think as Ian was saying.
Show us some spoilers during this, please.
Yeah, give us some spoilers.
Yeah.
Screw this competitive BS. I want new cards.
Coming up is,
Alright, we're back.
SCG Con.
I
There's
need
one of
cards
them.
that destroy Prism. Please.
It looks like we're back into some action.
Yep, and it looks like
The card just says, if Prism,
so
then don't Prism.
it looks like everything's worked out just fine
Throw
now.
deck.
We've seen a lightning surge come down for
Now it's just turning the meta
Prism
zoo.
equals
So
no.
Plunder Run was played from hand, so it does not have the +3 bonus on it, but it does have that on
Alright, we're
entry.
proceeded. Lightning Surge.
Alright, Lightning Surge for 4. Go again. Alright.
We
What do you
don't know
got,
Plunder.
what call was.
Plunder was played from hand, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lightning Surge for 4. Go again. On hit, draw
So
card.
it looks like now that breakpoint for 4 is just seems a lot less
Pitch a
relevant
blue.
against this Oldhim deck
Block
that has
4.
access to, you know, the Earth React,
Float
that has
2.
access to Crown of Seeds.
Some people are
Randomly
specking that the
now,
judge call was
the
for a
Pulse of
bathroom break.
Iceloft, That's devastating for Tom. So that's
Double
a 2
D-react.
Prevention Shield plus a card on top of the deck. Because
That's
it's both Earth and
brutal.
Ice, it activates both of those.
You can still crown.
So Tom's turn not coming out.
That could potentially really mess with his draw off the heroic.
No, that's correct. That's correct. So, I mean, Tom may be thinking, look, I've done my job. I've stripped the cards that I need to strip from hand, and hopefully I can get stuff down next turn.
So this is almost like a venturing. He's venturing out. To
Yeah, that Pulse of Isenloft is a really, really good card
swing
for Oldhim.
gently to part with some cards.
Yep, and it looks like he's coming down.
Imagine if it wasn't a one of.
So we see
Dude,
the
that would be
cards
nuts.
activated to draw a
Can you
card,
imagine?
pick up
Like,
a-
Pulse of Volthaven could be a 3 of and still wouldn't even be
that's
that good.
3 Prevention Shield, I believe.
I mean, it'd be
between the hero
good,
ability
but
and
like
Crown of
not
Seeds.
Pulse of Volthaven
Yeah.
good.
Oh, and he.
This card stays in my deck and means you put a card away.
That's a very
Yeah.
powerful
Your
stance,
5 card
right?
becomes
So I
4
believe he's now
cards.
ended
4
up
cards
with 2
becomes
cards in
3.
hand.
And then what else? Pulse of Candlehold, definitely, if it was more than 1 of, would be kind of problematic.
Okay, he'll be busted.
And it looks like we've had a quick clarification.
'Cause
It was
it's just better remembrance.
Wanting to know the order that the cards went on top. So as you know,
They talk about the
nothing too
judge
crazy,
ruling.
just wanting access to public information, which seems totally.
Yeah, it was the reason I thought, I think.
Alright, so just
Was the ordering of the cards on
So
top,
no
if it's
frostbite on this
public
week as well,
information or
and
not?
I think Tom
Oh.
knows time is now. Like,
That's interesting.
for Matt, he does again that 3 counters on Tunic. It's been critical the entire game.
Here we go. You
Mount
can see also
Heroic,
just
pitch
look
a
at the
blue,
speed in which
ball
they-
lightning.
Ooh, ball.
Tom shoved those down. Like Tom.
We
So-
pitched a blue evergreen, I
So
assume.
the notable thing here is that the Mount Heroic's going to stay for another turn.
I think Matt
It does look like
have
the Briar's at 6 HP with 1 block remaining. So unless the Oldhim can pressure with something bigger than the whale, Briar's going to be able to base, tank, whatever it is, and probably hit for a lot of damage.
He's got Tear in hand.
If the Oldhim draws Blizzard here, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
he's going straight for the Ice React.
he's got Tunic Rip, so that's effectively an extra card in hand.
But the Mount Heroic does stick for a turn.
Oh, swing 4.
It all matters what he draws here.
Matt is just slowly chipping away here. So the Winter's Whale coming in, and
If
Ice
you
Crown has been
risk-
pitched to it, so it is a potential frostbite.
Tunic,
Tom does
crown,
have access
to
that
get out that
glass of
channel,
Midnight
that could
+1
just win
comes
you the
to
game.
But again, when you're playing with 3 cards as
But,
against those Ice Reacts,
You know, he probably knows what's coming up in his deck.
I hope so.
I got no clue.
So
I have no idea.
maybe he knows that it's not an ice card on top of the deck.
again, you really need a good opportunity to
Or
use
maybe
this.
just unlikely.
Alright, so what does Tom do here? Is Tom taking because it's a.
I mean,
Man, I wonder what it's like to be this
honestly,
good.
Tom is able to take this. It's not. There's no. It does not appear to be any reasons up for pummel if Matt indeed has left that in the list, which I'm sure about, or I think I saw him run pummel earlier. But one thing is here, if Tom has a blue card, he might be thinking I can afford to take 4, go down to 2, and have my last shot at winning. But again, if he does that, that's actually his last turn basically. His last turn of flexibility, and then he's trapped a little bit.
Yeah, then he's on the kind of a downward spiral.
Another thing is if you crown on your opponent's turn, you have 15 block in hand, plus 1 off the crown,
I believe it's probably pretty fair to say that, and
which is pretty strong against Channel Mount Heroic.
unfortunate for Tom not being able to get off one
Right, 'cause you have
of
4
Pretty
card hand.
good.
If you use Tunic, yeah, 5 card
So I
hand.
think we have to give full credit to Matt for just playing this game absolutely perfectly all the way through.
I don't disagree at all. It's been hard for Tom to string it together. I think some of the Matt's only taken damage when he's absolutely had to do it.
Yeah.
And also Matt has been able to pick away at Tom at various times. Make it that Tom just wanted to take that damage.
Okay,
Just
so he
blocks
has
1, takes
trusted
3.
the
Yep.
15
Interesting.
plus the Arknight here.
Gets the
He gets one
frostbite. He has to be able to just force it through
Interesting
with the
decision
cards in
about
hand.
Blast there. I think maybe he just wanted to keep his lifetime.
And this Dude, that's nuts about Pulse is that as he gets further down in his deck, it just gets easier and easier to pulse.
Mm-hmm. A second channel. Oh.
Okay, that works, sort of.
Is that 2 Earth cards?
No.
Yeah, it is.
It's
No,
Force
it's
is.
Oh, right. Yeah, Force is not.
It's Earth Fusion, but I don't think it's Earth
So
card.
he's just gonna try and go really tall here with the Rosetta. I mean, that's fine. And he can keep one heroic, which is all he would be able to keep anyway, because both of them would have. He would have to bottom 3 Earth cards this turn to keep both Mountain heroics, but he can keep the new one, which is fine. Yeah. So what is that, like a red or yellow ball? Yellow ball for 8?
7, 8, or 9.
I think it's 8. There's no dominate here, so.
No, nice staunch.
Think.
Ooh, staunchy staunch.
Yeah, that's really efficient block.
And Earth React brings it up to 9-10. And then the Rosetta Thorn's coming through.
Yep.
Stop that arcane.
And
Yeah, the Earth stopping the arcane.
So it looks like he had the Earth Shield still up from that.
Using seeds for Arcane Barrier.
Yeah,
Not seeds,
he
fuck
actually
me.
has arcane
Tuna.
barrier too.
Matt is well aware that
Yeah.
he's got this game sort of very well under control at the moment. He doesn't need to do anything crazy. He just needs to stick to his game plan here.
You hammer, you start stripping their hand. I think Matt wins this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
He's
it's
been
about
winning
over.
for a long time now.
And if I can say, I don't think Matt's
Without access to a Sting Ball for a finisher, the Briar just doesn't
It was
have.
those ice reacts, man. It was ice reacts. Clinched the game.
Like, the Briar has to hit, like, a god turn right now.
and of course it's now just a one.
Not even that, because this is going to swing for hammer for 4, and
Yeah.
a card has to come out of the hand.
Here comes the hammer.
Yep. Yep.
And now Tom is going to be forced to play with 3.
And he's gonna get his pulse again soon.
Effectively.
Why Snapdragon Scalers?
I'm trying to think of what he can get.
Snapdragons
I
hasn't
guess
been
that makes
helpful
sense.
because of all the ice reacts.
Some sort of enlightened strike stat.
I was trying to think if the legendary boots were better, but they don't seem to do a lot of arcane in this build.
I mean, snaps threaten a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but not when you get ice reacted like every turn.
Inevitable at the moment.
And I think also you pointed out, already pointed out.
This is really fun to watch.
Lightning presses, for example,
I feel like I learned something.
help pushovers. Denver's lightning presses are gone. 2 of them were gone early in the game.
Yeah, now I do think
We should have a deck list in a
defending with that grasp of the Arknight, 'cause
probably a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
hours.
We've
from
seen
now.
every
For
card
all
in his
the top
deck at this
8.
point in the
Yeah, we
VOD.
have, but we should have an official deck list in a couple hours.
Yeah. Briar's got less cards now, for
He's
sure.
probably got 18 cards left in deck-ish, is Oldhim. 15 to 18.
defending with 1 card and
Yeah.
still getting a frostbite.
Briar's probably down to like 14-ish.
This is the last channel. Candlehold's gone. No, wait, there's one more channel, right?
No, this is the last one, I think.
Because they recurred one.
A particular plan of mine there.
Yeah.
They recurred the first one, played the second one, so there's one left in the deck.
Yeah, probably.
Not that it matters. This box 2, take 2.
Frostbite token
Oh
on
no.
board.
And I think the writing is starting to be on the wall for this game.
Yeah.
And again, now he's on 1 life.
All right, Dozer fam. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
My God, man.
Can't see a path to him.
And we have awesome perks for you on the Patreon.
Card hands.
Comment, who's your favorite Flesh and Blood player?
My God.
Comment down below. We will respond.
14 plus.
If it's not Dozer, don't comment.
Yeah, and we've seen Matt being able to assemble a lot of extra protection.
Also,
You
it's
got
snowing
your
in
licks in
Florida.
early this time.
The thing is here, Matt can choose to just throw away 3 cards if he wanted to, even without using all his interactions. He could throw
I love
away
you
3
too.
cards, defend for himself.
I was waiting for someone to say it, bro.
At that point, the game is just
Oh, that's a blizzard. Oh, that's just it, isn't it?
That's sad boy. That's sad boy hour.
Staunch.
Is that CNC in his hand too?
I don't
You
know.
did have one left.
He's got a staunch and a blizzard, that's for sure. Those two combined counters any hand that Briar's got here.
This here in the prison where
R.I.P. Never forget.
I managed to pull the rabbit out of the hat there and take that one out, but I think this one looks.
As you mentioned, Tom managed to pull out the game against.
You call your followers the Dozer fam, right?
That's true.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Nah, he calls them the bulldozers. Come on.
No, they're the heralds.
Just give good thoughts to whichever player you want to take.
The heralds of the snow in Florida.
Love psychically.
The one thing I see in Matt's hand here is I think Okay,
Is that a
so
blue staunch?
it's just
Call
gonna
'em
be
my
safe. And to be
precious
honest, I
spectral
totally agree with this
shields.
play.
Oh my
There's no
god.
point risking anything soon. You can just slowly grind out the player here. You've kind of got the
Nice.
frost hammer lock going down.
Alright, he's coming in with the entwine. I hope he
Still
fused
adapts to
that.
things like the staunch response. He's got a tear asunder in hand. So one option is here. Matt is probably just making sure he ticks all the boxes correctly.
Yeah.
But I think what we might see here is potentially a tear asunder
Red
hammer to
staunch.
just close out the game.
That would be alright.
Let's react. Let's go.
And
He's probably thinking, does he ice D-react or does he blizzard?
No.
might as
He,
well use
he
it now.
probably
he's
just
gonna.
holds it.
Well, he probably blizzards now.
Well, he's got 2 floating, right? Does he just have 1 card in hand?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would blizzard now. At worst, it's what a
Rosetta for
fuck,
2.
Rosetta for.
Yeah,
Does
just
it not
two.
get buffed by?
No, not this turn.
He's keeping the cards
Okay.
in hand because he's going to tear us under hammer.
But if Matt does have that tear asunder in hand,
makes sense.
Isn't that a paper scene in his hand?
I think he's very happy just to take 4
He
damage.
can't
It
do
is.
both. He can't hammer with that hand.
You can't hammer that?
No, not with Tear Asunder. He also doesn't need to.
Choosing just to play it ultra safe here, and honestly, I can't blame him.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
No point in throwing
Either
this.
way, there's
Well,
also no
wouldn't
point.
see
Just
that tear asunder come down.
he just gotta keep rinse and repeating every turn, and Briar just can't get through.
Matt would need 2 blue cards in hand as well.
So you did
to do
not
that.
fuse that in Twine Lightning.
Right.
Again, their deck velocities.
Arsenal to mystery card.
Now we're taking 2 cards from hand.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, Lightning Press. That
Ooh.
would have been nice.
Really
A while
started to
ago.
bite. You know, and
Mount Heroics are all
should
gone.
I say.
None of them have
Don't
been
want to get
particularly
caught with a
impactful.
bunch of
Just
balls in
forced
hand.
into defending with 2
Yeah.
cards every turn.
Do you think he just takes it here?
And you don't you know it?
The one funny thing is Tom actually has a pretty
There we
good hand.
go.
He can go plunder run into the entwine with lightning press active in his hand. The problem is Matt is like very well aware that
Icing
even with lightning press,
counter.
this is a maximum of 10 damage. So again,
Oh,
at
plunder
any
run.
point where Matt feels comfortable, he can
No
take
fuse?
No, you don't show it. Why would
Yeah.
you?
You can see, for example, that Enlightened Strike available in his hand here.
Yeah. And Matt can easily do the Enlightened Strike with the go again. Oh, throwing out 2 cards.
Choosing just to defend fully for 7, and there we go. Just to add insult to injury.
End of Fate for Scene,
A bit of salt
baby.
in the wound there.
Got him.
Wow.
So honestly,
Disgusting.
I can see this from Matt's perspective because
Yeah, I'm
Does he just
glad.
Arsenal? No,
This
there
is
we
the
go.
best part of Oldhim's deck. It's full of ice cards, earth cards, and the
Pulse.
pulse.
Yeah, at the end game, it just, what are you gonna do?
there's no way
Every 2 turns you get pulsed.
So if I just do this,
Yeah.
I am guaranteed to win through fatigue at some point.
Yeah,
And look at Tom's throw, the cards that Tom's going to throw away.
it's really a lot.
There it is. I knew there was one left.
That's what he's looking for.
I don't know if it's
Called
gonna
it.
help
I
though.
think this is going to do it.
No, he's
Flip
screwed.
six,
He comes in with the yeah, there he is. Yep,
And
dead.
Oh, no, just dead.
We're going to see the hand extended here.
what?
There we go. Good game.
Madness.
That's
That's
it. Yep.
Wow. What a legendary game. That was great. I don't know about legendary. It was great, though.
It was a good game,
There are no Briars in the final match.
which means Prism versus Bravo is the finals. Which
Prism
No,
versus
it is Prism
Oldhim.
versus Oldhim.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Prism versus Oldhim, and we'll see if the nearly undefeated Prism can beat Matt Rogers on Oldhim, which should be
All right, we'll
favored.
catch you
Legend.
later, my little bulldozers.
No, please don't.